Back here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, you can see Target Chip Ganassi Racing team members getting together for prayer as everyone is waiting to hear on the condition of Dan Weldon, as he was the most severely injured. Several others have been taken for observation and care, such as Will Power. We know he was transported as well, but he was taken by car. Will, of course, was flown out of here. And the whole mood, as we mentioned just before, was supposed to be a day of celebration, a day of championship crowning, a Rookie of the Year to be crowned. And instead, the thousands of fans that have come out are all wondering, like we are with you at home, what has happened to Dan Weldon, and is he going to be okay, as we are thinking our best thoughts and waiting for word from the hospital.
You know, this sport was mentioned many times as we've been talking here, Marty. It's something that we love to do, and we know it has the highest highs and the lowest lows. And when you've been involved in accidents, as we've talked to many drivers here today that understand this, including Davey Hamilton, you know that there could be an incident where you miss races and you end up spending time in a hospital. And I've done it myself a couple of times, but your focus is getting well and coming back. We saw that also with Kenny Brack when he had his horrific accident at Texas quite a few years ago and came back and did a great job. And that's what you hope for, and that's what you pray for, and that's what everybody right now is concerned about Dan Weldon, to hopefully give him hope and an opportunity to maybe come back.
It is something that you can never get used to seeing. No matter how many times you go to racetracks, and waiting for these moments makes it very difficult.
I know this is difficult for you, Eddie. You only do 2 races a year with us, and this is the first time you've been in this kind of serious situation, and it's perfectly understandable. I mean, we talked about about a half an hour ago. We get complacent sometimes. We see everybody hit the wall and walk away, whether it's IndyCar, NASCAR, NHRA. But then there's days like this where it just smacks us right square in the eye, and it tells you, hey, this is still serious business. And you know, you just find yourself stepping back for a moment and saying, man, what could we have done better? And that's exactly what everybody will be doing from this moment forward. How do we make it better?
Well, when you talk about better, Marty, the new car that's coming out next year, the 2012 car, has been all designed around improved safety. And Eddie, you know from driving in Formula One that back in those days, the cars were not all that safe. There was a lot of injuries for drivers in the frontal impact and losing their legs. I mean, the safer barrier was not out at that particular time, but over the decades, I mean, racing has become so much safer, and obviously, as you mentioned, there's incidences where you just can't control everything on the racetrack, whether it's the cars, the safer barrier, or the catch fencing. In a situation here, we think that's the catch fencing that has really caused a lot of destruction to the cars today. But over time, things have become much safer. And when I mentioned the 2012 car, the bodywork is much different on that. It actually has a rear valance around it, call it a bumper, if you will, that we hope will stop cars from hitting the back of cars in front and launching in the air, which we saw here today. It's been something that the team here, the designers with the league and the car designers have worked hard on to try to improve it. And as you can see, the cars that we look at right now, there is nothing really around the back area. 2012 cars will be different, and some safer devices on them, wrapped around them, and everybody's looking forward to that car.
Safety is always in progress. I think it's not one of those subjects where you can just close the book and say, well, we've done it right, now racing is no longer dangerous. Whenever you get cars racing around tracks at above 200 miles an hour, that's what happens. But I know it's very cliche, but race car drivers are a breed apart. They always acknowledge what they're going into, and they turn it into a very competitive spirit. There's always that push that is telling you to go not to the limit, but past the limit. And that's what really compelled me to want to be a race car driver, because I wanted to spend time on the limit. But
and that's the natural high. When you talk about that, that is the natural high that we receive when we drive a race car. And when we talk about the safety aspects of these cars, things have really improved. We talked about the Hans device. You know, we had a lot of problems with our head injuries and neck injuries. The Hans device now has been implemented. It's something that goes around the helmet and over the shoulders and helps drivers on frontal impact. It's something that's been involved in this sport here and transferred over to NASCAR. And Marty, as you know, I mean, safety is what this league is all about. And I tell people all the time, I would rather crash in a race car at 200 miles an hour than a road car at 60, because the cars are safer, and the most important thing is that the safety people are there within 30 seconds to help you.
All right. No new information to give you at this point. The meeting with the drivers is still going in that building with Brian Barnhart and IndyCar officials. As soon as that meeting breaks up, we will talk to those involved and get the latest information here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as our red flag situation continues.